All right. Well, I think we're all up and running, so let me just get a few seconds of sound here. All right, so that'll help me if I want to clean this up and edit it. All right, so I've got a treat for you. So welcome to the live stream, and this is for the Complete Mutant Chronicles. So part 5 is out this Friday, so take a look at that on YouTube, and subscribe to the channel if you want to get notified when that is live. And tonight I thought we would have a little treat to celebrate the upcoming next part, and I have a somewhat intact copy of the first edition of the Mutant Chronicles RPG. So notoriously, this book is square bound. I'm sorry about the glare here. This book is square bound, and because it shares, as you can see here, maybe, that it shares both color, kind of a color gloss and black and white pages, the glue binding is not going to keep those together. So we've got a few loose pages in the beginning. Whoa, let's get under control here. There we go. And I think we should be okay, but I'll try to keep everything close to the camera so there won't be glare or anything. So welcome. Hey, Drunken Sessions. How's it going? Yeah, excellent. Yeah, Crenshaw the Redeemer is on the ready art on the stream. So here we go. So this is Mutant Chronicles, the RPG from 1993. So I'm not sure if the Swedish edition came out before this, but this is this is the edition from 1993, and as you can see at the bottom, the techno fantasy role-playing game. So yeah, like I said, this is just a square-bound softcover book with the cover art by Paul Bonner, of course, very recognizable and very much, I think, part of the whole look and feel and probably the popularity of the game was his artwork was very compelling and immersive. It looked like a world you wanted to play, and it looked like a pretty messed up place. All right, so I'm getting a glare here. Let me try the light, move the light a little bit, and the focus. Let's see if we can do this here. So maybe an angle I can find here. So it all began in the darkness of the void. We freed ourselves from the hell we had created on Earth, but freedom had a price. The weak and the poor fell victim to the corporations who rule the solar system. Driven by their greed, the corporations laid claim to the 10th planet and woke the sleeping beast. May its name be forever despised. Thus did the Dark Legion descend upon us, howling for our death and destruction. Now is the time to conquer our fear and stand against the tidal wave of the Dark Symmetry. Now is the time for heroes. Well, I really thought I was going to get a better focus than that. Oh, maybe further away is better. But yeah, so Heartbreaker is I think the English company who was kind of localizing it. And they did the miniatures as well for Warzone. And it's crediting Target Games, Mutant Chronicles 1993. All right, so let's take a look inside. So I'll have to hold a few of these first pages together. But and there's the cover, and there's some really recognizable, like Imperial Klansmen, and but for some reason this cover piece is not as good. It gets much better later, and I think even some of the source books, the corporation books look a little bit better. So it's funny that they chose this piece, I guess, because it represented everything, but it's not the strongest piece. And the logo got better too. Yeah, but you gotta love the Paul Bonner art. I just wish they could have paid for more of it, because once you get to the black and white interiors, you lose a little bit of that feel, but there's still some good stuff. So here's the credits for all the developers, and so so there's translation and then U.S. editing. So I'm thinking that probably the Swedish version was out first because it would have taken some time to translate this. I'll keep this down here, so the inside plate. So here we go. Here's the first couple of loose pages, and it may make it easier to open. I may have some difficulty keeping this binding completely open. But a quick look at the contents. So they've got everything divided. So freelancers and employers. So basically, your character is a freelancer, and you're coming from one of the factions, and then they give you a description of every one of the factions. So they go through Luna, and basically all the possible corporations, and then settings. So how the corporations were organized, and then what settings on which planets you're dealing with. So go through. So I guess the main setting, because if you're going to be playing as a freelancer, let me see here. Maybe give up on this light here. Let's try this. No, that's not helping much. So you're playing as a freelancer, and so you're gonna probably be starting on Luna, and they give you a description here. Give you a description here. I'm getting very, very washed out. Let's try. That's a little better. So they run through the corporations, of course: Capital, Bauhaus, Mishima, Imperial, Cybertronic, the Cartel, and the Brotherhood, and then through the Dark Legion with the Dark Disciples, and then talking about heretics. And they do give you a book. I'm not sure if they allow it here, but they do give you a book of how to play heretic characters. And then they get into the what is an RPG. So that's good. They give you all the lore first, and then they back up and give you the setting, and then the skills, combat, the art, dark symmetry, weapons, and equipment. So the thing that I really like about how they introduce the world in this book, this glare is making it hard. I want you guys to be able to see the text a little bit more easily. So let's try it like that. So the first description of the setting is as if one of the members of the Brotherhood, like one of the chroniclers of the Brotherhood, is telling the story of what happened. And we're kind of an advanced part of the setting, and they give you like what the time that you're playing in. So let's see here. There's got to be a better way to get, I guess, just leaving it down. Let's try this light again. Bang. Yeah, that gives it a little bit better. Okay, let's try from here. So as I write my last words of humankind in pure despair. These last words. So written as a chronicler, so possibly like actually straight into a chronicle. No one hearkeneth my words any longer, and the inquisitors will soon collect me for my last trial. I fear this is the end. The evil patterns of the Dark Symmetry have stretched even into the Brotherhood, my brilliant, beloved Brotherhood. But here, I am not a mere scribe, a dying star in an endless night sky. Who will notice mine eternal absence? I pray in the name of Cardinal Nathaniel, the Untainted, that this is my last work, and it will not have been in vain. Right, and so then gives a quick run through of the background. So in the beginning was the darkness of the void. We had long striven to free ourselves from the bounds of gravity, to escape the hell pit we had created for ourselves on the planet of dead opportunities, Earth. It's talking about reaching outside the Earth and then running through the corporations. So pioneer of capital. So yeah, they depict capital as the first kind of most aggressive of Earth, and I guess that's why they settled Luna. But so now we're into the black and white art, and this section is still really evocative and looks really nice, and runs through basically history. But I just like the tone that it's written in, because it's very immersive. It's not too dry and cold. And there's great settings. So they're even showing you. Ilion's followers right from the start. So I won't run through everything. I just want to give you a flip through of what the original book and the art looked like. I think we've got a nice, so here's the problem. So here we've got a nice section of color work, but obviously when these pages are being bound together, they do not do well. But yeah, here's another. So Martian Sunset, we've got. I think this is one of the few depictions of Algaroth. Yeah, they don't. They're not stating it, but yeah, there's not really many depictions of the Dark Disciples. Mostly, you get an idea of what they would look like from their followers. Nice. So yeah, so everything is 93. So the face of the Legion is truly a terrible one, but even more horrible is the brain behind it all, the dark and cunning scheme that corrupteth mankind and turneth good into evil. For centuries we have watched this spite, malice, envy, and greed grow in the human society and even in my brilliant Brotherhood. I dare claim this without hesitating, but my days are done. I hear the rattling of keys in the door. So the chronicler, the scribe, is is going to be dealt with by the Inquisition. So already, they're hinting at, kind of similar to the 40k setting. Once you get to 40k, is no one is pure anymore. That the corruption has reached through everything. So the Dark Symmetry that kind of corrupted all of mankind has reached into everything. So originally, thinking that the Brotherhood will be the salvation is not even an option anymore. So here's two of the named characters. So Sergeant Michael St. Bride, Imperial, and then Freelancer Michael McBride. Oh, so this is the same. Same character as a Freelancer and then as a Blood Beret. Oh, nice. I didn't notice that. Yeah, so the freelance version or the Blood Beret version, same character. All right. So the adventurer. So here is your job for you in the dark and dirty world of the Mutant Chronicles. As a freelancer, your only guarantees are action and adventure. So all of your characters, depending on your alignment, your faction, are played as freelancers. So let's see. It gives you kind of different, you're basically going to be assigned jobs. You're just taking jobs from clients. So infiltration, anti-legion operations, deliveries, investigation, surveillance, exploration, and happenings. So kind of, it gives you a range of, and much more. They're doing that a lot more too with the early part of the setting in the 3rd edition, is letting you kind of play more action based or more kind of investigative or deduction based. So in the beginning, as things start to slowly unravel and it's not all kind of open war, kind of like Dark Legion war era, there's a lot more investigating into what's going on and what this corruption is causing. So your daily life will look quite normal. You have a place somewhere, probably a car and a decent bank account. You can even choose to doing your own cooking and eating, or doing your own cooking or eating out. You go to the bank once in a while, pay your bills, get your morning newspaper, watch TV, pop a top, and relax. Boring. This is hopefully not why you bought this RPG. To make a long story short, don't bother too much about remembering to eat, going to the bathroom, or filling your car up. Let's move. So basically, So here's the so employees. If you get steady employment, your situation is slightly different than if you are contracted as a freelancer. So you'll be supported by your boss and handle information, money, weapons, equipment, and backup, and even military support. But the demands on you will also be higher, and if you let them down, then they'll knock you down. Your task will be different for much more of those than a freelancer, but you trade a steady paycheck for the option of saying no. So as an employee, you do as you are told. With higher ranks of society involved, the game is much bigger. But above all, before you the career. So competition and areas of work. Nice. Yeah, so talking about differentiating between actually playing your character as a freelancer and then, or as an employee, so with a heavy alignment. So I guess that's what they were kind of showing you here, is if you're actually employed or operating freelance. Oh, did they talk about that in the description? This picture where heavy assault combat Mark III Venusian camo, Mark 43 intruder assault rifle with an aggressor, and of course the Blood Beret. So Sergeant, so someone said I represent the average guy among the freelancers. So right now I'm working on the Frazzetti case. Oh yeah. So they're trying to show you the two kind of what your loadout would be and what your objectives are. Do as you're told, or just watch out, look out for yourself, kind of please your client only. Nice. And then the description of Luna. So circling the vast Earth is the greatest city ever constructed, spanning large parts of the surface of Luna and even burrowing deep into the heart of the moon. Luna, once just a spectral orb in the night sky, has become a new home of man. This is the city of Luna. From the ancient quarters downtown Luna, the worlds of man are ruled by the enlightened Brotherhood and often corrupt and scheming megacorporations. Outside the ancient quarters, into the perimeters, the city has grown to cover 10 times the area of any city man has ever known, and it is still spreading like a cancer. So that's probably going to be your one of your starting in main cities, because all of the a lot of intrigue will be based there. Oh, I'm sorry. These little sidebars have some interesting stuff. So payday, one of the unwritten laws amongst freelancers is cash only. So the Cardinal's crowns is the currency. Oh, that's cool. I didn't remember reading that before. I wonder if that stayed. The once high-tech society. So here's talking about the kind of level of technology. With the onslaught of the Dark Legion and the invisible influence of the Dark Symmetry, society changed drastically. Many of the electronic machines could no longer be trusted, and at best they simply broke down. At worst, they ran riot and became the bane of many of those who put their fate in the hands of deceptive and incomprehensible technology. Nice. Yeah, so kind of giving you an idea of the level of the technology you'll be using, and so it's still the know-how exists. The industrial robots are still here, disconnected and stripped of their chips. The gigantic spaceships that carried man to the edges of space still exist as hollow skeletons of the past. The computers that ruled the society of mankind are stored in museums and protected from the darkness. Blueprints of IC cards remain. In the archives, designs of laser weapons and assault satellites are meticulously filed, out of reach of the competitors, until the scientists and inquisitors find functional ways of screening the Dark Symmetry. So if they stop the corruption, then that works again. Now, I'm curious to see how they'll talk about Cybertronic in this. Crime and punishment. Luna is a liberal city, which reflects the laws and regulations, but vary a lot depending on the victim. Nice. So they're talking about, so here's the Luna. So talking, about the different areas. The Luna of today was built on the foundations. So they're not giving a time, and the timeline's a little iffy. Between the first, second, and third version, there's like some shifts in like what events happened when. So we'll have to see if they're going to name what date the year of the Cardinal is and kind of where we are. So what was that? The ancient quarters, and the perimeters, the industries, the ports, and the mines. So running through. Oh yeah, and so here they're talking about kind of the adjusted space travel. So the only purpose of the passages of this passage is to enable the GM to get the characters back and forth. Also, how long it will take and how much it will cost. Nice. So not faster than light, much slower travel. Wow. Yeah, Neptune to Pluto, 70 days. All right, yeah, so basically a run through food, entertainment, the Brotherhood. The Cardinal's crown. It's the only currency in universal use in the world of the Mutant Chronicles is the Brotherhood's Cardinal's crown. It is used everywhere by everyone, and it is always the most favored currency in stores and when striking business deals. And the stock markets all use CC. And so here is the and I think for the for third edition for the Kickstarter they actually cast some coins like this that had the crown and then the cross. So that's cool. I wish I could get my hands on some of those. I totally missed that. Yeah, so cost. Yeah, so they're just listing costs in crowns. And then the Brotherhood, media, transportation, cab companies. Nice. All right. The Black House Underground Station, the tube dispatch system. So law enforcement. So yeah, Luna PD. So you start in 3rd edition. That's the first part of the kind of Dark Symmetry adventures. You can play as Luna PD officers. Disease and mutations. Plagues and disease hold a large part of the unregistered population of Luna in a firm grip. Nice, yeah, so cults. They're blaming cults for the spread of disease. Living outside the system. For those who live outside the system and by the streets, it's a life of violence. Yeah, so if you're not aligned with anyone. The Stone Archives. Right next to the first cathedral lies the Stone Archives, the Brotherhood's magnificent library and collection of the written word. The building contains absolutely everything that is worth saying, from advertising brochures and children's books to dictionaries, handwritten chronicles, and constitutional acts. The enormous library is organized with a complicated system of metal-punched cards, but you have to consult one of the librarians, apprentices of the Fourth Directorate, otherwise you can be stuck for hours. It is forbidden to take any scripture out of the mighty stone walls of the archive. Nice. Yeah, they talked about the cathedral actually containing... I guess they're not specifically referencing the chronicles. It's just kind of the protection of written word. But, yeah. Nice. So, Dress to Kill. So, the fashion... oh, nice. Yeah, they date things pretty... It's pretty funny. Yeah. Yeah, so a lot of the, because of the kind of frozen technology, things have kind of a World War One, so the, early 20th century look. So they do that with a lot of the fashions too. So like Mishima has that era, that pre-World War II, like early 20th century era when they're adopting the look of Europe. Cost of living, newspapers. Yeah, they give a lot of details. Life after death. The memoritaphs serve as tombstones for all those citizens who have passed away. Early in the history, the purgers of the Brotherhood recognized the Dark Symmetry's influence on remains of humankind dead and decided cremation, purging, was the only possible way to permanently avoid corpses being corrupted. Right, so no more necromutants, or I guess undead legionnaires. And all of the ancient graveyards were dug up and the corpses cremated. Whoa. Instead of graveyards and tombstones, the people of Luna raise the memoritaphs of their dead. Oh, hey. Thanks for that. I just got a notification and totally missed it. Oh, thanks for the follow. Kilamendia. Yeah, thanks, Kilamenda. Thanks for the follow. Yeah, hit me up in chat. Oh yeah, totally. I agree. I agree, Drunken. That was a pretty rough. I think the problem was those were the time when it was made. They were still kind of obsessed with putting everything on a green screen, and they really tried to, kind of crush everything to represent the story. They crushed everything, kept it on Earth, and really didn't do it justice. But yeah, that would be great. Hey, thanks. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I thought it would be fun to go through this. I just got my hands on a used copy of first edition. I've been using a PDF, sorry, a PDF scan for doing the doing all of the writing for the Complete Mutant Chronicles videos that we're doing. So check that out on the YouTube channel for Idle Red Hands. We're doing a lore series and using kind of CG and different video effects and stuff to kind of narrate the history of the setting. So doing lore videos of the setting. So this Friday, the 5th part comes out. So that's why I'm kind of doing this, to go through and get things to, get people excited about what is coming next. So yeah, that's interesting. Of course, that would make sense that they're cremating all bodies because things are coming back to life. So here's the beginning of the corporation section. Yeah, so I like the old capital. Yeah, it's much more nostalgic, the old capital symbol, the logo. They updated it to just kind of a wing. So they took like this wing of the bird in the 3rd edition and just made that the stars and stripes on just that kind of wing shape. Everything else looks pretty much the same. I guess the C for Cybertronic is a little different too. But it still has that look and feel. All right, so it was. The merchants gathered together. They looked across the earth and divided it amongst themselves. They built large temples for themselves and gathered their disciples. They shut themselves from the rest of the world, and their warriors patrolled the borders of chosen lands. Few of those who saw the splendor within those walls, and even fewer who emerged to tell about it. So the merchants grew in power, and soon controlled both the lands beyond the walls for those who dwelled there. But as is the way of man, without the light of guidance, the merchants soon started to bicker amongst themselves, and fought over the land and gold in the control of all. And all this they brought them out of the young worlds, and it was that attracted the darkness that would soon multiply their sufferings. So from the 8th Chronicle, the Megacorporations and the Cartel, Lucreti Marcellinus. All right, that's cool. They credit all of those writings. Yeah, everything that I've read that like is written as a chronicle has accreditation. That's pretty cool. It'd be fun to put that all in order. Nice. So the world of Mutant Chronicles is largely controlled by the boards of corporations instead of, as in past times, the governments of the nation. In fact, a man employed by a capital corporation, for example, might actually be called a citizen of capital. So domination, by the corporations. Of course, the 4 megacorporations, if you don't know the setting, there's 4 basic megacorporations. So Bauhaus, represented by this gear, is kind of Germany, a German-based kind of Northern European, like the European faction. Capital is the Americas, so North and South America. Cybertronic is a newer one and is the kind of the heretics that found a way to kind of revitalize or renew technology. There's the Dark Symmetry. And Imperial is the UK, and I think it's most of the UK. I can't remember if there's any other factions, but they are still clan based, so kind of an earlier kind of social structure. And Mishima is Japan and kind of the remains of Asia. So in this setting, there were like horrible natural disasters that just devastated Asia. So Mishima was the only thing that survived. So kind of dividing the world into the basic factions. So yeah, so they're going to go through each of the things. So freelancers, the conflicts. Nice. Oh, cool. Yeah, please check it out. Yeah, there's 4 parts now that are live. So take a look at that. Yeah, and so when this 5th part comes out, that's going to be an hour, because each one is around between 12 to 15 minutes, like probably average about 13 minutes. Yeah, so we've got an hour of lore video. But yeah, let's keep going. Yeah, so they do a lot of, they include a really huge amount of art in here, which I like that. I'm surprised by that. That doesn't happen as much anymore. A lot of sketches and kind of technical drawings and schematics to give you a lot more flavor. So a lot of pages are really busy with character sketches and things to show a lot more of the setting. They don't do that as much anymore, and I think because maybe the cost of art is much higher, and no one's doing black and white books anymore unless they're kind of a indie small press RPG maker. So everything's much more expensive. So capital. So it was in the Sea of Tranquility that the pioneers raised high the banner of capital, conquering Luna and then Mars, and the corporation grew to dominate mankind. Since their message was clear and just without confusion, the culture they spread was generous and inviting. Wherever they went, they established a human presence, and it was far and wide. Our brothers followed in their trail, but they were rejected, scorned, and mocked by the presumptuous this word I love, Capitolians. Yeah, I guess it would be Capitolians. And in the way of the first sign of the darkness, signs of darkness were discovered, and the pioneers shivered and sought shelter in the shining buildings protruding from the lunar desert. Then our glorious brothers exposed the vulnerability within capital and its teachings, and the giant began to stumble. Soon engaged in the wars all over the solar system, Capital was slowly bleeding to death. But they clutched the straws that they could to find and manage to continue the struggle in spite of what our prophets and seers predicted. So this is all talking, I guess, the writer is the Brotherhood. So they're always talking about the basis of, people that are outside the capital and people that are, following the way. And that gave them the strength to keep going, as they had been written off by their competitors. So as it was, when Capital took their last steps into the cataclysm, that was the age of Nathaniel. So Nathaniel Duran is the first pope, or not pope, cardinal of the Brotherhood, that they're always referring to, and kind of the kind of prophet of what this corruption was that was affecting mankind, because the infighting between the megacorporations was actually more inspired by this outside evil than the greed of men. They were just kind of amplifying it. So their business philosophy, the pinnacle, a brilliant example of Capital's power, is the pinnacle, their Luna Embassy. It rises more than 170 floors above the ground. All right, so that's going to be on a map somewhere. AHUH-19, Grapeshot Guardian. The flying gunships. Oh, yeah. So, you can see kind of the dated. That's what's really great about this setting, is it's, dated, non-silicon-based. There's no computer chips in anything anymore. So it's just pure electronics and, very analog. So they'll run through, and they give you specs for all of the president of Capitolians. Capitolians. Capital dollar. So Capital has their own currency as well. Nice. Capital Security Forces, the Armed Forces. This is a nice variety of line art and everything. But look look at the amount of illustration. It gives you a lot more feel for the setting than just like the one or two spot illustrations and just the giant pages of text that is more common in newer books. But it's running through the Air Force, the Ground Forces, Special Forces, equipment, uniforms, and decoration. And you can see a lot of, kind of dated. It's all early 20th century stuff. Some of the stuff has kind of evolved a little bit. Colonel John Fitzmartin, one of the greatest heroes of the Capital Armed Forces. Capital Sword of Honor. So the sword is purely a token position. It is given to officers who have been awarded the Chairman's Legion of Honor. Unlike the Legion of Honor medal, the sword can't be awarded to civilians. Mars and San Dorado. Right, so basically each of the corporations kind of chose a planet and kind of focused on controlling and terraforming a single planet to move their citizens to. So originally Capital had had Luna, had the moon, which they then began to share and became the home of the Brotherhood. And then they also took over Mars as well. And Mars is kind of their main base, the red planet. And of course, making America, Mars, the planet, the god of war, making them the most aggressive, kind of militarily and in their capitalist way. So Mars, the red planet, is the home of the pioneers, and it is, at least from Capital's point of view, the capital home, capital turf. They control almost 3/4 of the planet's surface, with the last quarter made up of a few Imperial Navy bases and supplements, a dozen or so Mishima and Bauhaus cities, and a handful of citadels. So that's the kind of majority, each of the planets are kind of controlled but not completely occupied by a single corporation. So that's where the conflicts start. You get like little skirmishes and territorial wars breaking out. So San Dorado, so cradled between the mighty Kirkwood Mountains and the slopes of the gigantic Mariner Crater are the shores of the Sea of Tranquility, lies San Dorado, Capital's capital city. So after Luna, it is the largest city in the solar system. Nice. I haven't seen that in the setting for 3rd edition, so I'm curious if they focus on Sandorado as well. The dough pits. Mars. Oh, so when the darkness appeared in the human worlds, it didn't take long for it to show its ugly face on Mars. The foundation of the first citadels were laid. So the forces of darkness, they launch ships, these kind of needle-like ships at planets, and where those strike, they start to kind of form these dark citadels, which are like these kind of nightmarish fortresses that are all spikes and kind of this weird mechanical organic stone, and they're struck into the surface of these worlds, and that's the basis for their strongholds. And they also become gateways, so they basically can teleport in reinforcements, and so they're kind of this weird way that they invade and kind of infect these planets. So that's what, if you've seen the board game Siege of the Citadel, that's basically Doom Troopers attacking the citadels that are that exist on the various worlds to try to combat the Dark Legion. Nice. So whose stat line is this? That's cool. Yeah, I really like how they have some kind of technical, like technical drawings, and then some more mood and more comic book style art. The partners. So they break down kind of the relationships. Yeah, this is a good thing to do for each of the factions, is break down how each of them get along. So the capital way is clearly reflected in their foreign affairs and diplomatic relationships. So with Mishima, Mishima's on Mercury, and capital's largest export market. Bauhaus is the expensive and extremely high quality products of Bauhaus. So Bauhaus is on Venus. They don't mention, and then even though I guess but some settlements on Mars, and even though they have limited contacts, the capital businessmen have never managed to cope with the Imperials. Had it not been for their unquestionable economic gains and being partners, they would hardly speak to each other. Yeah, so Imperial occupies the asteroid belt that kind of separates the inner worlds from the outer worlds. They kind of divide, I think, right past Venus. They break the solar system up, and haven't gone much past that. So Imperial, the kind of British, the UK faction, builds on the asteroids and then some of the moons on the larger outer worlds. Cybertronic, not the best of friends, certainly not enemies. So they have extensive business dealings, because they're both present on Luna. And then the Brotherhood. Capital is unique in the sense that they don't have an official opinion about the Brotherhood. The Brotherhood respects this. Nice. A simple request. Sacrifice and prevail. Oh, here we go. Some more of those color pages that split the binding. And liberation. Nice. Yeah, so these are little passages, like little pieces of fiction or little flavor text. So the Free Marines. Free Marines is the nickname of these specially trained rangers and elite soldiers. And then the infantry. Yeah, this is great. Great stuff. There's a lot of this great character stuff. A typical infantry trooper. Nice. And here we go, Bauhaus. So the Venetian Rangers and the Étoile Montante. Étoile Montante. I wonder why it's French. Yeah. All right. Bauhaus is Bauhaus has the great kind of skull, or really the Rangers have really heavy masks, that light armor, and then this kind of skull like jawless skull masks. So Bauhaus. And it soon became apparent that the 4 Duke electorates of Bauhaus corporate empire wished to be more than onlookers of the new scene of struggles. So with determination and steadfastness that only generations of military discipline could produce, the Bauhaus management staked their claims on the planet in Cardinal Toth's vision, the sacred planet of Venus. Nice. Oh, that's right. Yeah, the second cardinal after Nathaniel was a Bauhaus officer. Nice. So Capital's pioneers had once done on Mars, the Bauhaus home builders did on Venus by clearing the mighty jungles where they established the stronghold of Heimberg, and the proof of Bauhaus's ambition to carry the epithet of the megacorporations. In the light of the new position, Bauhaus smithies began to produce quality none had seen in long ages. Everywhere the products carrying the symbol of the 12-cogged wheel, the symbol of the 4 Duke electorates. That's right, so 12 cogs on the wheel, 12 teeth on the wheel, and then the four supports are the electorates. So the gear is symbolic. All right. So this became an icon of new thinking, a bold philosophy. The Bauhaus mark of quality became unquestioned whenever it appeared, and the strategy of providing the worlds of man with the best goods available became inherent. But even into the honorable, undefiled nobility of Bauhaus, the darkness managed to intrude. The power of our inquisitors was more and more requested, and in the sacred jungles of Venus, our combined forces established mightily against the dark intruders from Nero. And so do they still, in this never-ending war of grief and suffering. 8th Chronicle. Nice, yeah, so the Bauhaus cogwheel. So the four elector families that it represents are Romanov, Richtausen, Bernheim, and that's not a very German name. Saglielli. Saglielli. So maybe yes, it's of course then not only German, maybe dominated by Germany, but still many other European influences. And so their main city was it Heimberg is the main city. And they reinforce their obsession with craftsmanship and quality, and the kind of social order they want to give to society. So the Duke electorates, experience and heritage, business strategy, craft is all, cost is nothing. Systems of order, fellowship and succession. The Bauhausers, pride and protection, a small cog in the Bauhaus wheel. Nice. So the Bauhaus Great Inferior. The largest existing piece of ordnance in the Bauhaus is the Great Inferior, a self-propelled automatic howitzer. Wow, that's that down there. That's great. The Great Inferior. Yeah, the military ranks. Oh, there's their Wolfclaw. Wolfclaw battle tank. So the military, tradition and discipline. So the organization of their military. So armored forces, infantry, air cavalry, and special forces. All right. Oh yeah, and the wolf. Who's the? Does it say is that in special forces? The wolf head armor. Nice. The most respected orders of Bauhaus Society: the High Order of Merit of Venus, Knight Templars. Armored forces, infantry, air cavalry. Special forces, the Bauhaus Blitzers. Yeah, who is the wolf head? Do they have a specific name? Maybe the Twin Towers. So Bauhaus Twin Towers on Luna hold all of the central functions of the Bauhaus Corporation. Yes, so they all have like a corporate headquarters on Luna, because that was the first kind of place off Earth that the corporations occupied. Heimberg, yeah. Heimberg and Venus. Yeah, so Venus is known as the jungle world. So when it was terraformed, it became a jungle planet. Bauhaus law enforcement. Competitors. The Cartel, the Brotherhood. So the Cartel was kind of established by request of the Brotherhood to have representatives. So that's where the Cartel is who organizes the Doom Troopers. And so Doom Troopers are the kind of space marines, the elite fighting forces that are donated by the best soldiers from each of the corporations are devoted to the Cartel. And the Cartel is kind of they manage the I don't know, kind of like a CIA or something that they manage the kind of inner workings and influence the relationships between the corporations, and because they're made up of members of all of the corporations, they don't have as much of a bias, but of course they do. Like they all become corrupted, and also then the cartel send the Doom Troopers to oppose the various citadels, the Dark Citadels. So Bauhaus is the corporation that has suffered the most in the armed onslaught of the Dark Legion. Yeah, because most of that happened on Venus. They fiercely attack them on all levels. Yeah, so I guess, yeah, so they have a close, yeah. Indeed, the first 4 cardinals that proceeded from Bauhaus and the corporations and Duke electorates have always been their strongest supporters. Wow, so yeah, they have a much closer relationship to the Brotherhood than Capital. A commoner's mistake. Oh, nice. Yeah, a little flavor text. Yeah, so I guess it's like the character that they're showing here. They're not naming them, but they're giving a stat line. Or is that for? Oh no, that's the weapon. I'm sorry. That's the stat line for the weapon. It's hard to read. Yeah, so that on the previous page too. That must have been the stat line for that rifle. Yeah, there was a rifle in the Capital section, so they just do like a featured weapon. Yeah, the book is still in pretty decent shape for 1993. I mean, it's getting close to 30 years old. It's insane. Yeah, so the sword. Yeah, this is the stat line for the sword. There we go. Okay, so back to Mishima. So Mishima is the Japanese faction. You can probably tell from the illustrations. So as the populace grew along with the Mishima dynasty, the rulers' control over their vassals decreased at the same pace as the disappointment among the people increased. Demands for the abdication of the overlord were loud. Mayhem and revolt ruled and held Mishima at bay. And so it happened that the Cardinal Randolph's elevation, that the overlord proclaimed that the Mishima dynasty and all of its work and all of its lands and all of its assets would for eternal time no longer be administered by the overlord, but by the 3 lord heirs. The lord heirs were the future overlords. So great rejoicing followed. The corporation was prosperous and happy under the new rule of the lord heirs. So the overlord stepped down and gave them 3 rulers instead of 1. But soon the glorious inquisitors, in their infinite wisdom, saw the darkness fall over Mishima Corporation. Feuds among the lord heirs could no longer be solved, and in the gathering halls, but were resulted in hostilities leading to grief among the stockholders and the mothers of many young men. Yeah, so a lot of infighting. Each of the corporations has their kind of history of infighting, which is really interesting and makes things much more complicated as far as so nobody feels completely good because everything is based on greed. So the overlord warned that against the evil in order to end the conflict, but the lord heirs no longer respected the sacred planet of Cardinal Rudolph's visions, and so the blessed planet of Mercury. Yeah, so they're based on Mercury, and this blood feud became the most obvious sign that the darkness from within was a greater threat than the threat from its dark legions. So then the sons raised hands against fathers and rejected him. From the first chronicle, the arrival of darkness and the call of the cardinal. Wow. Yeah, I want to put a lot of this writing in order. That would be nice to make a big collection of that. Excellent. So Prince of Fire, Governor of Luna. The Lord Heirs. So Lord Heir Moya, Lord Heir Maru, Lord Heir Mariko, or Heiress, sorry, and, the 3. Yeah, there's 3. So there's a female heir. So the original overlord, their business strategies, craftsmanship and competition. Warheads. There are 3 generals. Combat, recon, and suicide. Oof. Wow, that's not let's not remind everybody of that. I guess, if the setting is early 20th century, that's still going to be part of the culture. The Karas, Longshore, the megacity Longshore, and Fukido. The free settlement of Fukido was originally an attempt for Mishima to attract freelance corporations. The Mishiman, the man of Mishima, family tradition and glory. Yeah, so maybe a very family-based culture. I'm still getting that glare. Let's try that. All right. So the military organization tactics, the gold doubloons. Yeah, they talk about a currency for each of the factions, but still saying the capital or the the Brotherhoods, the crown, Cardinal's crown is the main one. Mishima's police. So the Hatamoto, they're kind of their armored soldiers. Yeah, so you can see very heavy kind of, samurai influence, the Kabuto helmets and things. And still they're using so this is always upsetting to people. I think that's why, some people like the old logo is Mishima's showing the rising sun with the rays from World War II or from pre-World. Oh, and here's the artwork from the Siege of the Citadel, the box art. So those are the Doom Troopers from each faction. That's nice. It's cool that they put colored pages. Too bad it hurt the binding of the books, but it's cool that they put the colored pages. This camera is not doing me any good here. Yeah, all right there. Something like that. So the samurai, their equipment, warheads, a longshore and Mercury, gunship diplomacy. The third overlord, Mishima Taro, had a saying: "What can't be achieved with violence is not worth fighting for." Nice. Mishima residence. Oh yes, so it goes through the Brotherhood, their relationship with the Brotherhood and the Dark Legion. That's nice. And I didn't remember when I was reading through the books. I didn't remember the little pieces of fiction that they included. So not as much support illustration for Mishima. That's funny. Some of the other factions had a lot. Maybe we've still got another page or so. No, that's interesting. A little bit light on Mishima art. Let's go already to Imperial. And so it was that Imperial grew. The families amassed wealth and knowledge, and led by her imperial serenity, raised the foundations of the new empire. They haughtily shook their fists and rattled their swords at the larger competitors. Imperial stood up to fight for its traditions and developed into a megacorporation, a position of power and influence that guaranteed the survival of imperial values and politics. This position had been gained through the devotion of the families and the clans that created the corporation. Oh, sorry. Where are we here? Okay. But this was not seen with kind eyes by all. Bloody wars were instigated to quench the spirit of the challenger, and Imperial was threatened and without allies in the cold world of corporate finance. But they stood their ground and built a strong defense, based on the strengths of the clans and the families that ruled them. And it was Imperial that first realized that the threat of the Dark Legions, they walked right into it. They saw the seeds of darkness and their mysterious patterns of the Dark Symmetry that spread among our cities. The cults of heretics and the renegades grew, and the dark shadow of evil threatened to engulf us all. It was then, O brother, that the leaders of Imperial, called the mighty Blood Berets, the valiant warriors, did fight the Dark Legion side by side with our blessed crusaders. And in the deepest jungles of Venus the battle raged, and many men did forever scribe their names into the eternal ledger of heroes. From the 8th Chronicle. Imperial Serenity. So the chairman of the board is the Imperial Serenity, with the right of veto. And is that one of her modeling photos? Nice. The birth of an empire. Yeah, see a lot more art. Yeah, that's funny. Oh, there's nice. There's some clan artwork too. So Imperial bureaucracy, and then the clans. Yeah, there wasn't Mishima didn't have a vehicle or a weapon. The Imperial Doom Lord. The Doom Lord is the old reliable of the armed forces. Nice. So their gunship, the Doom Lord. Yeah, I wish they had all of the clans. Oh, they might. Yeah, because we've got Bartholomew, Murdoch, Maguire. Cool. Yeah, they might go through. Yeah, there's a little bit of bias. I think some of the clans get a little bit more attention. Especially right from the beginning. Very cool. Yeah, so stats for the vehicle. There was nothing for Mishima. Nice. You have to go through and collect those the clan art. The Great Resentment. Yeah, so this is talking about their infighting. They had a lot of, because it's the kind of the warring clans, there was a lot of infighting. So their money is the sterling. So Bartholomew's, Maguire's, Murdoch's, and yeah, so there's more than 3 though. But maybe that's the 3 that they're going to base everything on. Let's see what they say. So during the age since the founding of the corporation, hundreds of families have achieved the honorary title of noble as a reward for their services. Nowadays, although legally possible, no more titles are awarded, even though it happens that extremely prominent persons are adopted or marry into a clan and inherit the title. Currently, there are 62 such noble clans. I see. So there's just some dominant ones, and 62. Lots of tradition and ceremonies surround this nobility. Yeah, so some of them are more famous and bigger troublemakers than others. Fighting the darkness. So their military, how they divide. Officers, defense force, special forces, settlements. The reading palace. Imperial's most Reading. I guess it would be Reading. It's Imperial. Imperial's most important building, the Reading Palace, by the Imperial Plaza in Luna, contains all of the vital officers of the Megacorporations' management functions. Yeah, so everybody's got their corporate headquarters. It's cool they name them too. All the buildings are named. The Bauhaus Bully. So you can tell, I think, kind of basing it on World War I and II. We're putting Imperial and Bauhaus, kind of opposed to each other. Nice. Yeah, the Imperial Corporation. So here's, of course, the relationships again. The Dark Legion. Imperial is the corporation that takes the threat from the Legions of Darkness most seriously. This is partly because of the damage that the darkness has caused Imperial's infrastructure. Again and again, the legions have washed over the settlements and industrial sites belonging to Imperial. The ISC, the Imperial Security Command. Agents? Oh, there. Ooh, the Clansman Claymore. There's the stats. Yeah, impossible to read. It's gray. It's white on gray. Oh, here we go. The color art. Yeah, so not as much. It looks like Capital got a lot. Yeah, both Capital and Bauhaus got a lot of kind of supporting sketches and things. So the Wolfsbanes and the Golden Lions. Yeah, Golden Lions is Edward S. Murdoch, squad commander for the Golden Lions. The fiercest warriors known as the dreaded Wolfsbane Commandos of the Maguire clan. Nice. Oh, here we go. Cybertronic. It's the Corsairs and Chasseurs. Nice. Technological marvels not found anywhere else in the ranks of Cybertronic. Yeah, here we go. So here's the newest, the Johnny-come-lately of corporations. Yeah, so part 6 of the series will cover Cybertronic. So I was going to try to fit it into part 5, but there's too much we had to do with Cardinal Nathaniel Duran, so it was better to give that some space and then do a whole part only Cybertronic. All right. So just as Cardinal Roland was about to speak, a messenger from the Cartel High Council entered the hall and called for silence. He bore with him grievous news of the people gathered at the devotion, and while he spoke, the hall was empty, leaving only the Cardinal Roland and his kin of the Brotherhood, and the Cardinal had a premonition of dark times for the corporations and mankind, because a new power had entered the scene. And the Cardinal's followers cried out in grief and fear, because they already merged the resources of mankind. The already merged resources were now further divided. And it was this that was to become known as the founding of Cybertronic. And just as the Cardinal Roland had foreseen, the rise of the new business empire seemed to have no ceiling. Day by day, the new losses were discovered among the directors of Mishima and Capital, smithies, pits, docks, banks, universities, and garrisons were secretly purchased by Cybertronic, who were all former employees of other megacorporations. But how hard we tried, O brothers. None of us could find the slightest trace of influence from the Dark Legion. Not even the Changelors, grasping far into the mind, so kind of the psychic members of the Brotherhood, the mind readers, found anything but cleanliness and health. And so it was that the fifth and so far last of the megacorporations saw the light of day. Yeah, this will be a really interesting origin. Cybertronic, there's a lot of, kind of secret dealings and negotiation that created Cybertronic, and people seeing that, technology was the kind of the best solution or last hope to fight the darkness, but it was also, it was tainted by darkness. So yeah, very interesting kind of mysterious origin. So that part will be fun to write. Cybertronic HQ is the name of their skyscraper. So they're only based on Luna, basically, because that's where they came from, the secret cooperation of members of all of the various megacorporations. So facts on the founding. The founding of Cybertronic was a sudden, massive takeover of corporate assets by a small, insignificant holding company, Cybertronic Investments, Inc. The traders, the infiltrators, business facts, and the chasseurs. Yeah, so very different. They weren't based on any original organization of human, no nationality or anything based on Earth. So very different clan, and very dangerous, because they're using technology that was forbidden. The Cybertronic piastre, the most unusual corporate currency. Yes, Cybertronic currency. Chemaman. Chemaman is a remote-controlled homing carrier for biological and chemical weapons. Unofficial doctrine. And then their relationship with the Cartel. Offenhauer theory. So with Bauhaus, the interdisciplinary theory created by the group of scientists led by General Jean-Louis Offenhauer has come to be a prevailing one. In short, it believes Cybertronic has developed biochemical methods of altering the body's physical functions. Oh, nice. So Bauhaus cooperation and influences. So that's why they're always show. If there's another colored plate, but yeah, they show a lot of green chemicals being introduced to the people that have kind of the cybernetic implants and things. Business relationships. So the ticker, monosodium mortibin salamon mononitrite 3, or ticker. As it is commonly called, is one of the modern science's greatest achievements. It was invented and first produced by the second Lieutenant Miriam Duval of Biochemicals. Ticker is a hyper-conducive biochemical substance that, when it is injected into the cerebral cortex, optimizes the transmission of the nervous system impulses, thereby improving the brain's capacity and boosting activity. Oh, what could be wrong with that? Nice. Yeah, a lot of nice details. Blueberries. During Bauhaus's research with the blue pills, they have been used to suppress the physical side effects of ticker. Nice. Sullivan syndrome. Yeah, Imperial and Mishima. Seabase, the most important and prominent of the Cybertronic Empire's chemical companies. Wow, so chemical and cybernetic. The 19th executive. So our agents have found an insignificant building on the outskirts of Luna that is in fact a secret underground mausoleum for Cybernetics' 19th member of the board, Raoul Mannerheim. As you know, Mannerheim is one of the geniuses that turned Cybertronic into a megacorporation. Yeah, that's going to be really fun. All the kind of the backroom dealing and things that brought the conspiracy that brought Cybertronic into being. All right, and then the Cartel. At long last did the megacorporations realize that solving differences by military might would soon lead them to their own destruction. To avoid this, they created the Cartel, a body of officials from all the corporations. It undertook the enormous task of coordinating different corporations and their conflicting policies. As time passed and the presence of the darkness descended upon the Cartel, also did battle against the Doom Troopers, against the Dark Legions. To combat the evil forces, the Doom Troopers were created. The most formidable of warriors, these men and women can best even our own Inquisitors in combat. A formidable ally, but also a frightening enemy. This made it necessary for us to gain even more control over the council that controlled these warriors. The cartel did promote greater cooperation between the megacorporations, but it was also a breeding place for those whose own petty squabbles and human greed. It is a cesspool of degeneration and cruelty. Some officials stopped at nothing to achieve their own goals in the cartel, and it was made into a secret society existing only for the sake of its own. The 8th Chronicle. Yeah, so the cartel is kind of the origin of the Doom Troopers. The structure. Yeah, so they have a relationship to all of the megacorporations because they're full of all of them. Operations, cartel security. So cartel security forces are known for their total lack of discretion. Brotherhood observers. The Doom Troopers, yeah, here's the combat unit. So I guess, yeah, cartel is only Doom Troopers. There may be like agents and representatives. Punisher sword. Oh, there's no image, but they have stats for the Punisher sword. Creating a Doom Trooper. A Doom Trooper character is created in much the same way as any other, and the Doom Trooper background is chosen just like any other. The main difference is that the Doom Trooper's training is more specialized than other backgrounds, and resulting in warriors that are superior to any other trooper in the corporate forces. The extreme demands of the service is represented by the harder conditions when you check to see if you keep your job instead of making intelligence by perception roll. You must make an inverted intelligence perception physical roll. Nice. The roll may not be higher than any of your stats. Nice. Wow. Yeah, we'll have to go through. We'll take a quick look at some of the mechanics for this early system. Nice. So their specialties. Yeah, so it's going. Oh, this is actually going into character creation. Oh, that's weird. So yeah, they just jumped into some mechanics of the game. All right, and last but not least, the Brotherhood. And so Nathaniel gazed over the worlds, and all he saw was evil. The worlds were filth and waste, decay and destruction. Civil wars were waged on endless battlefields, and brother fought brother in the chaos we had inherited. We had turned the cradle of humanity into a burial pit. Traitors and renegades hid in the darkness. Outside the borders of our cities, mutants and beasts from the pits of darkness roamed. Then the veil was lifted, and Nathaniel saw the light. He saw the winding road of salvation, and he felt the warmth of the cleansing fires that would burn the filth away and once again light up the world. A great power surged through Nathaniel, and he found that he could shape the power of the night at will. He once again gazed over the world and spoke. Let this be the end of darkness and the beginning of the triumphant light that will shine over the worlds of man forever. And around him gathered those of faith, and they called him their leader. And so it was that the Brotherhood was formed to do battle against the darkness. Nathaniel was the first of the sacred cardinals. He raised the banner of the just and right, and lit the fire of redemption. And their light did shine over the worlds, filling the skies. And the fallen did end their warring, and looked to the light, and wondered what it would bring. Nice. Yeah, I like the writing that they do for the Brotherhood. It's always very epic. So, yeah, Alexander Horatio, the first chronicle. The new light. Oh, that looks like an image of Nathaniel. There's not a lot of older images of Cardinal Duran. It's a lot of the later characters. The vow of the Cardinal, leaving the trial. Oh, yeah, I like that style. They did Modivius did a nice system map that has this kind of style to it. I like that more symbolic map. The Calling of the Cardinal, Book of Law, the Chronicles. In the early days, Cardinal Nathaniel recognized the influence of the Dark Symmetry in the written word. When studying the ancient tomes, registers, and scrolls, recapitulating the history of all mankind, all he saw was perverted and evil and infested by darkness. So he summoned the Lord Scribe Alexander to appear before him, appear before the Curia, and assigned him with the task of compiling the knowledge of the Brotherhood into the Chronicle. And it was the first cathedral. Here we go. And as the first cathedral was erected, Alexander personally carved into the sacred marble walls the first Chronicle, out of reach of darkness. That's cool. So yeah, that was that's what happened at end of part 3. I'm trying to remember. And maybe end of part 4, because that was the Brotherhood focused. But yeah, talking about how to protect the word and history of humanity. What they did, the art structure. Yeah, the Cardinal and the Curia. So the structure of the Brotherhood. So the Cardinal is the head, and then there's the Curia, and then there's the directorates. And so the Curia is kind of the most trusted and most faithful of the followers became the Curia. And the Curia is kind of like a senate, like kind of a Roman senate type structure. And then there are the directorates. So the 4 directorates are the mystics, the Inquisition, the mission, and the administration. So I think administration handles the library and the records, and of course the Inquisition handles the heretics. So these are kind of the warriors, and then the mystics. They talked about the changelors that are psychically read. So they have a lot of mastery of the art. So what they call the kind of the supernatural or mystical powers of the Brotherhood learned is called the art, and so the mystics are they wield that specifically, most specifically, whereas the Inquisition is guns and swords. So Inquisitor Majoris, Mortificator, elite troops, trooper, sacred warriors, keeper of the arts. Yeah, and so the cathedral. So each planet has its own cardinal, and they have their own cathedral constructed. So the first cathedral, of course, is on Luna. So kind of the seat of the Brotherhood is Luna. So that's their Vatican. All right. So the military, the Fury of the Troopers, and the Sacred Warriors. Oh yeah, and that's another. They're already jumping into creating the Brotherhood player. So it is possible to create characters with a background as Inquisitors or Mystics. In this case, it is a calling for life. Yeah, you're not going to be a freelance Inquisitor. You're always going to be serving the Brotherhood. Avenger Swords, Mortis Swords. Yeah, not so much. Yeah, not so much illustration. I was getting spoiled. Those first 2 Megacorporations had so much illustration to kind of seat you in, there should be more. There's really great, weapons and armor for the Brotherhood. I wish they showed more of that. The Dark Legion. All right. So this is not a corporation. This is what everyone is fighting. So this is like the chaos faction, or the pure evil faction. And so their only motivation is to just exterminate humanity, through corruption and then just warfare. So as the merchants laid claim to the 10th planet, they woke the sleeping beast. May its name be forever cursed and despised. Greed and pride led their steps onto the path of eternal damnation. As they turned their backs on our glorious and all-seeing prophets, ignoring the holy warnings. The merchants set foot on the planet and defiantly broke in their pride and folly. They also opened up the gates. And so did the Dark Legion descend upon us, admitting the entry of evil into the world once again. And so the Dark Legion did descend upon us, howling with lust for destruction and corruption, snarling and barking, and the degenerate wolves bared their teeth, smelling the blood and carnage that lay ahead. Hordes of heretics were whipped into an evil frenzy by the Dark Apostles, and they marched under the cursed banners towards the light of the Brotherhood. It was the followers of the Cardinal who stood against the Dark Apostles and their legions. Scores of good men and women answered the holy calling for a crusade against the beasts of darkness, and so the battle was begun. And on the side of evil stood creatures from unholy dimensions, forever doomed to burn in the cleansing fires of damnation. Against this Brotherhood raised... here we go. I pulled this from somewhere. I knew it. Against this, the Brotherhood raised the shield of righteousness and wielded the sword of truth. More First Chronicle. Yeah, so the arrival of the apostles. So Nero. So first, Pluto was the steel tablet that released the Dark Symmetry, which created the fall of technology, kind of corrupting technology. So mankind had to abandon any thinking machines, any computer, digital based machine. And then the apostles arrived after the breaking of the seal on Nero. Oh wow, that's a cool image of Nero. Nice. Is that Algaroth? Is this depiction of the Dark Soul, or is that Algaroth? Yeah, because there's not any. I guess these are supposed to represent the apostles. Yeah, because that's kind of Algaroth. I guess because this is kind of, I don't know, it's just evil. Nice. So the steel tablet. Here's what I was talking about. So the first men who landed on Pluto were the Imperial conquistador scientists, astronomers, and explorers and astronauts that dedicated to expanding the knowledge of the solar system. So here they found the first steel tablet buried kilometers into the solid surface. It immediately responded to the sensitive instruments. There are no pictures of the tablet nor any survivors of that first encounter. A distant scraping transmitted through voice told us about a radiant and shimmering plaque placed in the center of a gigantic altar. Resting on the vaults were the engravings similar to those of Earth's ancient Neolithic cultures. Then all was silent. Yes, there's a lot. I'm not sure how much. There's just Nephite Overlord. Yeah, that's not Algaroth. It's not an illustration. That's like a sculpture, isn't it? Nice. Yeah, it's like a lit sculpture. That's cool. The Nephite Overlord. Yeah, they're not naming. That's cool. Yeah, the Soul of Darkness. The Age of Dark Symmetry. Cool. Yeah, so there's some nice immersive sketches. There we go. Yeah, there's the Necromutant and the Undead Legionnaire, the classic Paul Bonner color art for those. Nice. So let me just take a quick check at the cool. All right, yeah, so feel free to bug me in the chat if you want me to read anything specific or stop anywhere. But so yeah, they're going through the apostles and the sibling rivalry between the apostles. Yeah, nice. There's a lot of this is a lot more. The legions, so the Nephirites, all of the kind of followers, and so each of the Nephirites following the different apostle have a different look that resembles that apostle. So all Algaroth has red, spiky, kind of war and just very violent looking. And then so so here's the all of the dark patterns. So the Dark Legion is surrounded by an aura, dark and powerful. The aura is known as the Dark Symmetry, and the Legion's source of power, the gate of the Soul of Darkness. For the complex field of power, Brotherhoods, the Apostles, the Nephrites, and the Mystics of the Dark Soul channel all this evil power. Heretics are initiated in the use of the Dark Symmetry by the higher beings and cultists within the hierarchy of the legions. So each Dark Apostle has their own dark pattern. So Ilion is the guardian of the Dark Symmetry, is the most powerful. Muovije uses the Dark Symmetry to further spread insanity. Semi uses the Dark Symmetry to spy upon the worlds of humanity and twist reality around them. Algaroth walks the path of fire and destruction. The mages of Algaroth open gates and portals to other places. Denagonus, most of all, the Denagonus minions use decay and rot to fulfill their mission. So the mystics corrupt and inflict decay upon the solar system, forever searching for new diseases and rotting beings to spread. Nice. So yeah, kind of divided, yeah, similarly to the Chaos Gods in 40k. Nice. And so yeah, the Citadel. So here's a nice depiction of the Citadels, and then some of the beasts. Yeah. So here's Ilion, Mistress of the Void. Oh wow. So each of them gets some text. From the nothingness of the void she emerged. Cardinal stirred in his sleep. There's some nice flavor in all of this stuff. Yeah, this is all chronicle writing. So here's a sketch of her. I saw someone develop this out into digital art. Yeah, that was one of the things from the Protoss Warzone. I liked the illustrator that did their Ilion. That's what I used in part 5. Spoilers, because this is okay, but she doesn't look so seductive. So the Nephrites of Ilion, the Templars. Oh yeah, there's a lot of great supporting art here to see what everybody looks like. The Children of Ilion. I like these little freaky little guys. It's like little mutant dwarves. Muovije, the Lord of Visions. It was the great prophet Aglalios that spoke of the Lord of Visions in the dreams of the Dark Lord. First emerged, bringing him fools and jesters to make merry in the minds of men. Howling hordes were released to haunt our dreams, leaving us no rest or peace. Oh, Screaming Legionnaires. Nice. Wow, the Screaming Legion. Yeah, they talk about screaming madness. So I guess it's a theme in the legions. Zenithian Soul Slayers. Some good stuff. Yeah, Screaming Legionnaires. That's gotta be fun. Yeah, the different technology, the Shrieketh and the Zotheth. Yeah, some of the pronunciation. Yeah, that's a thing. I'll have to do a poll about, so people can argue about pronunciation of all of the Dark Apostles' names. So I kind of just went with either what I'd heard before or kind of what seems to be the most logical. And so we'll see. So Semi, the Lord of Spite. Let's see. As the glorious crusaders lifted their arms and marched towards the darkness on the battlefield, the Inquisitors took up the challenge of an even greater peril. For Semi, the Lord of Spite, spread his poison over the worlds of humanity, snaring those who lusted for power and perverted pleasures. The darkness grew within, corrupting our societies like a cancerous growth. Inquisitors left no stone unturned as they sought out the evil ways and the signs of corruption, but even the light from 1,000 cleansing fires could not banish the darkness from within. Nice. Right, so spite, turning humanity against itself. Calistonian intruders, the heretic legionnaires. Yeah, there's some great sketches. Yeah, I don't mind, especially in black and white books, I don't mind like kind of rough sketch level stuff because you can have a lot more of them. I'm sure they're much, cheaper to produce and they just give you a little bit of a flavor. I mean, of course, the painted art is awesome. It's, really excellent to have. But, to give an idea of what each of the different troops and all their weapons and things look like, you can't have all of it painted out. I guess now it's a little bit more reasonable because it's all digital. There's the Razide. A hybrid collection of flesh, iron, and stone. Unearthly organs connected by endless tubes pumping dark liquids through the Razide's muscular body and sending ripples across its skin. Nice, I like the crazy coloration. The Centurion, the Nephirite of Algaroth. Oh, there we go. Algaroth. Aware of the magnificent rule of the Cardinal Augustus, may he be forever blessed and protected by the powers of light, the spawn of the bottomless darkness and the instigator of devastation, gazed over the outer world. Algaroth brought with him his faithful lieutenant, the bestial Nephirite Alakai. With the aid of the silent Techrons, they together created the first legion out of the bodies left of the countless battlefields in the system. Yeah, so the undead legionnaires. We saw that. That was previous. Are the reanimated corpses of fallen soldiers. So just like the what the White Walkers, everybody they kill, they just raise again. So their armies grow and grow. And also, Algaroth has the black technology, control of the black technology. So the black technology is a process of twisting and corrupting existing human technology, weapons, and other equipment captured from the Megacorporations and the Brotherhood, and they are transformed by the weaponsmiths of the Dark Legion and Techrons, and the resulting equipment looks like melted machinery and has warped new and strange shapes. This process gives the equipment new, sharp edges, letting the user cause even more damage than pain. It is impossible for humans to use these twisted creations. Well, that's cool. Necrotechnology, biotechnology. Yeah, some of these pen illustrations are really great. There's some really nice graphic stuff. Algaroth's hordes, the Nephirites, the Necromutants, Undead Legionnaires, Centurions, Ezelghouls, Razides. So the Ezelghoul, that's the largest miniature in the Siege of the Citadel. The Praetorian Stalkers. Yeah, so they have their own kind of mechanized armor. Yeah, motorized limbs and servo-controlled artificial organs. Oh, I like it. And here's the, so like Praetorian. So here's the Nephirite, maybe Nephirite Overlord, and here's the, the kind of the ranks. So Praetorians and probably Centurions and Necromutants, and then below them would be like Undead Legionnaires and various lower troops. But I like how they're showing the hierarchy. Nice, the technology. Demnogonus. So did the darkness turn over yet another stone, and from under it slithered Demnogonus, the Befouler, born from the pain and suffering, filth and famine, plagues and diseases. The corrupted lord shook his fist against the pure skies of the cardinal. He cursed the air and the water and blinding light of the Brotherhood. His was a universe of decay, filth, and plagues that he envisioned a time when our worlds would be twisted and corrupted from black disease brought forward by the Dark Symmetry. Nice. A very Nurgle-esque god. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so give you closer to an idea of what he might look like. Yeah, these are very loose pen sketches. Nephirite, Kyrath, Curators, the Blessed Legionnaires. The Blessed Legionnaires, riddled with disease and plague, like enormous swarms of flies and wretched creatures, marched to the mad commands of their apostle. Plague gun. Bacteria grenades. Nice. So the heretics, the Dark Legion, were the first threat who knew no equal. They scoured the worlds of men and destroyed all that lay in their way. Their trait followed corruption and disease. Nice. So just fallen humans. All right. So here we go. Yes, okay. Heretics was the last. So now we're to that. What is a role-playing game? Nice. So what do they say? I'm just curious what they are always. Oh, yeah. So the game uses 4-sided. So D4, D6, D10, and 20-sided dice. Character sheets are helpful for recording everything. So let's see. Yeah, 3d6. Oh yeah, so just explaining the abbreviations for dice and an example of a game session. Designing adventures. What really happened? And what happened next? Yeah, nice. So examples of gameplay. This is becoming so standard, but the funny thing is it's usually like the very first pages of a rulebook. I don't mind it being deeper and having them do the lore first, because the lore is much more fun. So the character. The character is your hero. The adventurer in the world of Mutant Chronicles. Physically, he is just a set of values on a sheet, but the game is much more. Below is described how you calculate the figures that help you use your character in the game. So how they want to do, I think this is an early life path kind of thing. So in short, the procedure for generating characters goes: determine your basic capabilities, determine your initial social standing, develop your adolescent skills, choose background, and go through the background loops as many times as you wish, applying any aging effects as soon as they occur. Determine your combat statistics by equipment and fill out the personality form and enter your adventure. Nice. So they do strength, physique, coordination, intelligence, mental strength, and personality. So that's, I guess, your charisma. Yeah. Nice. So determine, so 3d6 8 times. Yeah. So, yeah. And then remove the 2 lowest. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. That's pretty standard. Transfer points from one basic capability to another on a 2-to-1 basis. So if you really want to raise something, you roll like an 18 for something, and then you want to feed that 18 into something else. You can raise it 2-to-1. Social standing. Yeah, so this is something that I think some games ignore, and some games, really want to focus on, because they have, so many different kind of strata of society, and you can't just, be some street thief and then, walk into a corporate office and have people like think that you belong there. Yes, this is similar. So 3rd edition seemed to keep a lot of this going, the kind of, life path development. So the things that happen to you, like throughout your early life and education. And then you get to determine if you want to keep gaining skills and bonuses and abilities. You keep aging your character. Of course, the aging is going to create, some negative, some aging effects. But you can keep going. And I'm not sure if, because I know in a lot of the life path, there is actually options to die, but usually in those settings, like death is just a temporary thing. You actually can be like placed in a new body and things. So I'm curious if you can die, just like in Traveler, if you can kill yourself during character creation. But nice, yeah. So they do. Yeah. So here's skills. Let's just go through it. So there are 32 skills described in the game, listed under field of expertise. How proficient you are in a skill is described by the skill value. So SV, which most of the time ranges from 1, worthless, to 20, a real master. I am worthless. So you improve your proficiency and skills by making skill picks. Every time you make a pick, the SV in that skill is raised as indicated in the skill pick box on your character sheet. So for the first pick, the skill value is increased by 3, second is increased by 2, and then so it goes down 1 maybe every time you pick it. Nice. So adolescent skills. Oh, aging effects. Oh yeah, so you're getting. So by 27, you're going to lose 1 physique and gain 1 intelligence. By 33, you lose 1 of everything, but you gain another intelligence and a personality. 39, you lose 1 of everything again and gain. What is that? What's MS? Mental strength. That's right. Gain a mental strength and a personality. So by 55, wow, you're losing 4 personality. You are an uncharismatic old man. Nice. Backgrounds. Oh, nice. So it's got a little flow chart to take you through. Unemployed, make free for free skill picks. Unemployment. So for each period of unemployment, always 2 years at a time, make 4 free skill picks. Lose 2 from personality. and lower your social standing by 2. Make 2 special skill events. Adjust your age plus 2 and apply any aging effects. Now, 2 years have passed and you may return to step 1. Nice. Yeah, so you just run through this flowchart until you want to give up. Other background options. So apart from the 8 backgrounds described here, there are 3 additional to consider, like Inquisitor, Mystic, and Doom Trooper. And yeah, we saw in the description that they have kind of special conditions. They're not as free-flowing as the basic freelancer. All right, so here we go. So here is our, what are we calling these? These are our backgrounds. So we have military, law enforcement, media. Oh, look at that old camera. Science and construction, security and investigation, administration, economics, law, criminal, student, the eternal student. I want to be the 51-year-old student. Franchiser and common man. Nice. So those are all the base. And then they give you, so yeah, you have to have requirements like certain social standing. Some of the backgrounds have requirements. Max 25. Certain amount of strength for the military. Nice. And here they're showing the little example of the character sheet, which we'll get to eventually in the back. So here's, tables to roll on for events. So adolescent events, special events. Yeah, and this was kept, Modifius uses this kind of system a lot in their character creation. Conan, the Infinity-based game. I think John Carter, a lot of them, you do you run through kind of a life path routine and roll on events. So some example events in your adolescence would be criminal record, bad company, weapon fanatic, and so it gives you different bonuses in certain skills or certain traits. Special events, contact with a megacorporation, good negotiator, glorious employment. Nice. Developing backgrounds. So without hesitating, it's the example Mike chose. So combat statistics. All right. Movement allowance, offense, defense, perception bonus, body points. Body points are the damage capacity used to calculate. Oh, separate parts. Oh, they've got hit locations too. That's right. So you can take different amount of points of damage on different locations. Social standing and equipment. So 0 is low life punk. 1 is homeless nobody. 2 is poor sucker. 3 is poor but happy. 4 is low standard. 5 average guy. 6 comfortable. 7 well-to-do. 8 wealthy. 9 very rich. 10 stinking rich. You have 20 million available cardinal crowns. Nice. Yeah, so each of those has, those are the availability of your resources and then kind of a description. None of them say, they just kind of give you a description, like where you would fit into society, where you would be comfortable, and where you came from. So here's your personality form or character sheet. Yeah, we'll take a look at that in the back. Fields of expertise. So here's the skills. Talking about the skill value, so we know the skill picks and how they go up the older you get. Yeah, so combat has kind of the standard missile weapons, brawling, wrestling, thrown weapons, melee, and parrying. And firearms, handguns, rifles, light automatics, heavy automatics, shoulder-launched weapons, and grenade launchers. Communication, administration, oratory, dealing, social interrogation, conning, movement, sleight of hand, stealth, agility, climbing, flying vehicles, ground vehicles. Technical, chemistry, weapon systems, computers. Wow, computers, really. With this skill, you can summon the Dark Symmetry. You can program and modify. Interesting. Yeah, I guess computers are back. Electronics, medicine, and mechanics. Special skills, avoid, perception, and the art. So basic capability. So this skill is only mentioned here for consistency to show you that spells of the art are purchased with the free skill picks. Learning spells is resolved separately from the rest of your skills. Only Inquisitors and Mystics may learn spells. Refer to the chapters covering the Brotherhood and the art. skill rolls. So modifications, interpreting the skill rolls. So is everything D20? Probably is. Because you're doing 3d6 stats. Yeah, so skill roll is always made on a d20 and compared to the CS. What is that? Chance of success. There's an O in there. Chance of success. A perfect success. If you roll a 1, is always a perfect success. So you're rolling under. You roll under your chance of success. A fumble is a 20. Nice. And then, yeah, difficulties or modifiers depending on situations. Basic capability values. Yeah, so how difficult? A difficulty level. So determining something's difficulty and how to modify it. Improving skills. Oh, yeah, spending hero. So hero points. Yeah, hero points are kind of the XP. So one of the most important tasks of the GM is to award hero points. If you're too greedy with them, then your players will be bored to death. And if you're too generous with them, then your players will be spoiled and challenge disappears. Yeah, so hero points are the XP system to buy new skills and boost your stats and all that good stuff. Creating new skills and sub-skills. Combat. So order of combat. Use floor plans and miniatures. Oh, yeah, so they want you to kind of visually. And that's great because they just reissued the Siege of the Citadel, so we'll have floor plans and miniatures for all of that. It is recommended that each combatant has their own playing piece. A painted Heartbreaker metal miniature is best. Trademark. Of course it is. And that's great. So right away, they were doing the miniatures and then probably said, yeah, we got enough of these miniatures. Let's make a miniatures game. Yeah, I wonder what the date is. I'll check at the very end. I'll pull up my Warzone, my original Warzone book, and we'll check the date on that. The artwork makes it look like it's a little bit later in the 90s, but yeah, I think it's maybe 96. I don't know. But Heartbreaker's got you covered. Okay, so yeah, here let's just run through the basic combat. So determine the order of battle. The character with the highest initiative begins. And so how are we accomplishing initiative? Probably just rolling a d20. And if the character attempts, okay. And they do all of their actions. However, he may save one or more actions in case he is attacked. If a character does attempt an attack, they are resolved immediately. The first character has satisfied his turn, then it goes to the next character. So movement, attack, avoid, special action. Oh, there we go. We're putting everything on our grids. Nice. Avoiding, parrying, line of sight. Combine actions, taking cover, charging, ambush, focusing. Yeah, it's very standard. Firing modes. Oh, yeah, so each weapon has, a different firing mode. Oh, that's cool. So they're going to have you, reloading and, racking weapons. That's cool. Perfect hits and fumbles. Reloading weapons jams. If you're fumbling, if you fumble with a firearm, so you roll a 20, you roll another d10, and if that result is higher than your jamming factor of your weapon is jammed. Calculating attack result, grenades, firing against objects, different types of weapons, incinerators, shotguns, effects. Yeah, so hit location. So talking about, what effect that's going to physically have if your legs take all the damage. You're not going to be walking out of there. Special situations. Fire and heat. Damage from falls. That's cool. Poison and gas. Vehicle damage. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, you're rolling, d20s for combat modifiers. Combat example. Hey, it's all named characters. Oh, wow. Yeah, they're actually showing you. Yeah, I don't think they sold. I guess they're just assuming, you can make you got graph paper and your 1-inch grid paper and you're making a map, but I don't think they sold anything. They had it in the board games. All had grid, grid-based tiles. So if you bought the board games, you could probably use them for the RPG. But I don't think they're out yet. Here we go. The art. So the art is the merchant's name for the mystical astral powers that, with proper training, can be used and manipulate reality. The art was given to the Cardinal Nathaniel so that he could do battle against the Dark Legion. But who gave it to him? It is a sacred source of power, and under the guidance of the Cardinal, it has been researched and attempted to control it have been made. So far, only some aspects of the art are understood. It is known that it can be controlled by men, pure of thought and soul, and shaped through the use of the art of kinetics, both for attacks and defense. But it is only for war and destruction that the power can be used. The seers who the seers who perform the art of premonition spy on the darkness and gaze into the void and into the swirling clouds that shroud our past and see our future. The mystics devote their studies solely to the art of the changeling, becoming the masters of interrogation and mind reading, of illusion and exorcism. The art is often described and visualized as white light. By reflecting, focusing, and breaking and dividing white light into color patterns, it creates effects beyond normal laws of nature. Directorates of the mystics. So mastery of the arts, level of perfection, aspects, and spells. Becoming a mystic. So they're going to go a little bit into mystic background. So apprenticeship, and so you have a different, you go through different generation, different background generation. Being an inquisitor. Nice. Yeah, they do some nice drawings though. Oh, that's very Nathaniel Duran looking. Yeah, I like these little sketches. I think they reproduce pretty well. And they give you a lot of different looks. So background descriptions, learning spells, modifications. Oh, mental strain. Yeah, so if you're casting, you've got mental strain. Description of the art. So area of effect, range, and duration. So here are the art of kinetics. So strike, shield, phantasm, teleportation, levitation, explosion. The art of premonition, telepathy, item vision, premonition, presence, gaze, true path. The art of changeling, domination, hypnosis, command, exorcism, mind wall, and empathy. Nice. Oh, blood berets. Look at that. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, they've got all the box art covers. So these games were already being produced at the same time. I'll have to check the boxes to see the dates, because we've got the art for Siege of the Citadel and the art for Blood Berets already as color plates in first edition. The Dark Symmetry. And the howling legion of darkness descended upon the wrecked havoc of our world, and around them the dark aura shone like a corrupt torch. The legions commanded powers from the dark pits of all planes, and with the energy that corrupted the lands and twisted the world around us. Strange were the effects of the sorcerous ways of the legions. Mystics of Ilion crossed the star-strewn void to enter our minds. The forever damned legionnaires felt no pain as they marched through the hail of missiles launched by our troops. The Nephirites called upon forgotten names and shaped destructive balls of fire and brimstone. Pain and death could be inflicted upon our troops from the far citadels, and no armor could protect against these attacks. None of our fortresses could stand against the power of the Dark Symmetry. The Second Chronicle. So dark gifts, the patterns, learning Dark Symmetry. So you can't learn Dark Symmetry. I guess it's in here to, be used against you. I think there is a Heretics book though, or there's an Algaroth book for first edition. Praetorian Stalkers, the birth of a stalker. The inner depths of the dark citadels, the stalkers are created. Techrons prepare a heretic, a human renegade, who is sacrificing himself to Algaroth. With the Techrons, there are 2 Nephirites and 1 Master of War. The other is a Master of the Dark Symmetry of Algaroth. The heretic is hoisted over a pool of active lava and is lowered into the molten minerals. Bolts of dark symmetry energy coursing over him as he disappears below the surface. After a moment, he has brought up a charred frame, but with the brain very much alive, thanks to the protective powers of the dark symmetry. Immediately, the Techrons begin to work on the wretched creature, strengthening his joints, replacing his ruined organs, and layering a hard covering of skin. After this is done, the stalker is then returned to the fire with a heavier flow of dark symmetry, influencing the molten flow. The process is repeated again and again until the Techrons and Nephirites and the Nephirite overlords are satisfied with the result. So that's what the metal skin is. The Praetorian stalkers are given birth, and a Techron blacksmith slaves over the forging of the splendid weapon, a scythe of semi, hammering it into perfection. That's great. That's a very graphic origin of the... so terror, dark fire, resist pain, invoke pain, and blindness are the dark gifts. Nice. I guess, and then each one has different... So Ilion has dimensional hold, disrupt power, hands of death, time death, true gate. Movije has confuse, insane dance, send dreams, sleep, wind of insanity. Semi has control mind, illusion, mind melds. Possess and shroud, Algarath, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea, dimensional warp, distort and flow of acid, and invoke frenzy. And Demnogonus, time rot, animate dead, decay, deform, and infection. And so here's the weapons of the Dark Legion. Oh, is it just weapons in general? Yeah, just everything. Yeah, everybody's weapons. Oh, nice. Oh, this is great. Yeah, they have a weapons section, so they give you little illustrations of everything, help you visualize. So stat lines and then illustrations of everything. So all of the weapons, and they get bigger and bigger. Wow, assault rifles, the carbine invader, Panzerknacker, sniper rifles, the archer, the SR 3500. The assailant. Lots of sniper rifles. Oh yeah, and here's the Fury of Klansmen cover. Yeah, they must be. They must have been really close to producing all of these games. Maybe just everything happened at the same time in English. I gotta check the dates. More sniper rifles. The Last Stand. These are some great illustrations, and another color plate. Nimrod. So here's, yeah. Oh, these are Doom Trooper. Yeah. Doom Trooper specific. And some of these I think I remember from the Doom Trooper card game as well. Nimrod, autocannon, laser sight, coagulant, and auto injector, combat helmets, plasma carbine, combat medic, Punisher combo, deathlock drum, violator sword, and Gehenna Puker, a high-tech flamethrower. Nice. And then we're still with heavy rifles. Oh, these are... Oh, still in the... rifle. Oh, these shotguns, I guess, in the street version. Light machine guns. The Kensei. Heavy machine guns. The Charger. I've seen that in a few illustrations. MG80, the Purifier, rocket launchers. Nice, the Southpaw. Wow, heavy equipment. And then other basic equipment. Your ballistic nylon, your bulletproof vest. Yeah, so all of your armor. Sunglasses, of course. Sunglasses can range from simple eye protection to tinted shooter glasses and glasses that polarize instantly against flares. Yeah, so all of your extra gear, surveillance gear. Oh, we're wrapping it up. This is crazy. So let me see. Seismic detectors, all the street gear, ammunition, tool clips, explosives, and vehicles. You can get a junk pile for 1,000 crowns. A family car. I want to get a family car. I want to get my family involved in my freelance work. Nice. All right, so here's the character sheet. So there's your stats. Yeah, that's pretty basic. And then you, yeah, go through all of your personality, background, your stats. So, oh yeah, that's on the, okay, there we go. So your combat stats, your location, yeah, your armor and location. Oh, and here's your, yeah, body points. You can just mark off body points as you're taking damage. Your weapon, your block for your weapon stats and you're carrying. And then all of the skills. So yeah, that's nice. They break it up. It's, you know, combat, firearms, communication. So everything is broken up into your skills, and then notes, and oh, skill picks are right there. So you can just mark off boxes as you make skill picks. Oh yeah, so it goes 3 and then 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Yeah. So what is that? 6, 9, 8. Yeah, 8 picks to max out any skill. Nice. And then it tells, yeah, this is still, it's still very similar to how the third edition is going. Very cool. And then all your little notes and details. Here we go. This is only the beginning. So this looks very familiar. That looks like a, come on. This camera is ruining my day here. There we go. Only the beginning. So this looks like a tile from one of the board games, right? So there's a lot more to come in the world of the Mutant Chronicles, a world too big to be contained in one game. Coming soon, more games, comics, video games, and much more. Don't miss out. So fill out this card and send it in. I'm sure someone in Pennsylvania will be waiting for it. That's cool though. So you could actually photocopy this, and you've got maps to, you know, just kind of cut blocks of tiles, and then you can lay that out. That's cool. They give you a little bit, because I never saw them produce anything professionally. I only saw this kind of artwork in the board games, so that's pretty cool. Whoa. All right. Oh yeah, it is all out then. Yeah. So if they're advertising this in the book, so Pressman, yeah, did their Siege of the Citadel. So Pressman, Heartbreaker, and ROC. Oh yeah, that's right. They did a novel series. Yeah. There's like 3. I think there's 3 books. Nice. So the futuristic world of the Mutant Chronicles, Doom Troopers must destroy the Dark Legion before the world falls. Face the many challenges with mind-boggling products. Yeah, I'm so curious what the new version is going to have. But look at that Citadel. Like, you fold all that cardboard together. Let me put it a little closer to the camera. It's black, so it shouldn't phase out. I can't get it. The camera's too close. But yeah, see, look at that cardboard structure. You have to kind of slot all that together. So already though, what is this Dark Symmetry? So Blood Berets, yeah, more Mutant Chronicles. I guess just another supplement. But yeah, so this was already happening. So that's why all the artwork was in here, because those games already existed. So all of that in 93. That's crazy. Wow. Well, let's do a quick check, because I've got Warzone like within arm's reach. All right, so let me see. This might be 2nd edition. Is it going to tell us? Yeah, it's very nice. So the book. So this is 95. And it's not calling it 2nd edition yet. But yeah, they really cut down on the background. We're like already through almost all the lore is gone through. Yeah, I think this is 1st edition. Does it say on the back? Nomini Cardinalis. Yeah, so 95. So Warzone. And then I think that box set, the plastic box set, came even later. So maybe that's the 96 that I'm thinking about. But yeah, so 93 and then 95. And the board games, I guess, are, you know, coming in between that. So they already, maybe the English release, they're already pushing, you know, between these 2 releases, they already pushed the board games, because all the board games had plastic miniatures, and then Heartbreaker was doing the white metal that you use for Warzone, and then they did that starter set. I think that starter set is 2nd edition. So this is, I think, 1st edition rule book, and the 2nd edition was those 3 kind of gray metallic looking books that came in that box set. Nice. Wow. So I hope this gives you some some background. And this is this is the origin. This is the first incarnation, especially in English, the first incarnation of Mutant Chronicles, and it all started in the RPG, and then of course moved into the card game, the board games, and then the miniatures game finally. So yeah, I love this setting, and it's fun to look at the very beginning of it and see kind of the origins. And so the thing that we're trying to do, so this is all kind of to get people excited to watch our lore series. And the thing that was difficult to do is things are just hinted at and not quite fleshed out, just like the 40k lore and a lot of the early settings. Like the first version of it, they're just kind of hinting at things, and as later editions come out or source books come out, they kind of flesh things out. But a lot of through the 3 editions of the RPG, and then also the few editions of Warzone. So there's 2 editions of Warzone that were actually produced by Target, Heartbreaker and Target, and then they have the then I guess the Excelsior maintained things. I think they did another book. I'm not sure if they just reprinted the original books, but I think there's an Excelsior rule book that kept Warzone going, and then the Protos version of Warzone, and then there's a new version after that as well, that's kind of in the making right now. Res Nova, I believe, is got the license to do another version of Warzone, so this will be the 4th iteration of Warzone, and we'll see what that looks like and how that goes. There's been little hints and things that it could be wonderful. I mean, it would be really great if we've got sprues of things and we can customize. But I think they're gonna have to start on a smaller scale, kind of like original Warzone did. So I'll do a flip through of this later, but just showing you there weren't that many models. It was almost skirmish level. First Warzone was very small scale. Oh yeah, we'll do a flip through of this on another night. Go through first edition Warzone. But yeah, so what I was saying is combining trying to get the lore to be comprehensive. We want to do like a complete Mutant Chronicles and take some of the best, because some of this writing, I mean, some of the things that I was reading, I just love the flavor and the tone that's written in. It's just this desperate, survival, and the tone of how the chronicles are all written is just really wonderful. And I wanted that to come across in our lower videos, but it's not fleshed out very much. And so Modifius did a lot of work fleshing things out. And in fact, they even, for better or worse, depending on your opinion, added another faction. So instead of the tribes of Old Earth, they created a Russian-based faction called White Star in 3rd edition. So Cybertronic was not the last of the kind of, competitors, the last of the Megacorporation kind of scale factions. And I think they did that to represent Old Earth, but some of the people that, like, this is their original or this is their original version of the lore are not, they like Dark Eden and they like the tribes of Old Earth. So yeah, so incorporating all of those things together and making that kind of work as a consistent lore, it's fun to do. It's a little challenging though, because kind of balancing things, but I really want the flavor of this old writing in those videos, but also kind of the advancement and update that they did with the setting, because there's they tied a lot of things together. So like the origin of the art and a lot of the things that protected humanity, like the real secret to why it was humanity that was kind of targeted by the Dark Symmetry and by the Dark Soul is interesting, and like what certain people saw in humanity that made them worthy of doing what they did. Anyhow, but we'll get to that, and we'll do a lot of like deep lore videos, kind of like forbidden lore. I'm trying to figure out a good title for that, but kind of forbidden lore videos for the so kind of future supporting kind of specialized videos. So once we get kind of through the whole timeline of the basic timeline of Mutant Chronicles, then we'll go back and do, of course, like different corporate, Megacorporation specific videos and things that are more specific to, Warzone setting, because this is, Dark Legion era, but it's also like, very specific to skirmishes and things. That the whole arc of the history and the setting is not as important once you're in Warzone. It's just the kind of conflict between Megacorporations and then the incursion of the Dark Forces. So yeah, this was it's fun to do, and it's really fun to go through these old books. I'm so glad that I could get a copy of first edition. It's not perfect, but it's relatively wonderfully intact. I mean, I've seen people that have had to like spiral bind or punch these pages out because this binding completely gave way. So it's hanging in there. It's nice. Oh, why is there capital? There's a capital logo right at the corner there. So I guess made in America. I think Heartbreaker had a bias for capital. Sorry, the glare. The camera doesn't handle that exposure. So if you think a glare on the cover or overexposed. Yeah, but see, already the artwork is getting nice and juicy by that time. All right. Yeah, so look forward. I'll pop on another night and we'll do a flip through of Warzone. So maybe we'll do Warzone first and second edition so you can kind of see how quickly they scaled up and how the vehicles got bigger and everything, and how they did plastic. They introduced plastic. And look at it. It's a full color rule book. Is that first edition? I'm going to have to take... Yeah, because... no, I don't think it can be, because they're already talking about from the makers of Doom Trooper. So the card game is already out. People are already playing the card game. So, yeah, I'll have to double check. I'm pretty sure second edition is the rule books, the broken out rule books. Yeah, I got to go through and get my manufacturing chronology straight, because I think like European releases, like Target Games is based in Sweden. So I think the release of the European versions and the English versions may be a little bit different, and all of that going through. Heartbreaker. Nice. Yeah, but thank you for joining me, and please tune in on Friday. Friday, I believe it's like 5 p.m. Pacific time, North American time, for our 5th part of the Complete Mutant Chronicles series. So this is the Dark Legion, the first Dark Legion wars, and it heavily involves the Cardinal. And yeah, from there we'll introduce the next Megacorporation in part 6. But yeah, if you haven't seen any of these before, as of Friday, parts 1 through 5 will give you an hour of Mutant Chronicles video, like animated video, to follow through the whole lore and all the little details. So we touched on a lot of that stuff going through this book, but it's been fleshed out a lot more, and there's a lot more kind of nuance and detail to enjoy. And starting with the Exodus from Old Earth in the first part. But yeah, so that is happening. And what else? Yeah, so if you would like to see, actually you can see part 5 right now if you go to our Patreon. So Idle Red Hands Patreon is patreon.com/idleredhands. For as little as $1, you can get access to the 5th part right away, as well as scripts for the previous parts and other kind of supporting materials for the series that we've been working on. So yeah, and your support makes a huge difference to really help us finish the series and get them done in a more timely manner. Right now it's been averaging about a month, a part a month, but I'd like to get that, increase that a lot more. And also doing supporting translation to foreign languages. So right now we have a Spanish translation of part 1 that was done for us by the wonderful Alfie Warzone. So if you speak Spanish, and you want to see the, in your native language, you want to hear that lore. It's we did a full dub of Spanish for the part 1, and we'll continue to do that. And if you support us on Patreon, that will happen a lot quicker. So Idle Red Hands on Twitter, and then of course YouTube and Twitch for the live streams. So sub us there, and you'll get notifications for every time we're online. And I'll be back with Warzone, all of the kind of Warzone supplements that I have, and so we'll get a good look at some of these miniatures. And if you look in the archive, I went through the starter decks of Doom Trooper, like the contents of a starter deck, and then the little tiny rule book that they are included. So if you don't know the Doom Trooper card game, take a look at that. And also hopefully we'll be doing more with the digital version of the card game. So thanks for joining me. Sorry about that glare. And so this has been first edition Mutant Chronicles. So we've still got second and third edition to flip through. So if you enjoyed this, please give a like to this video and subscribe to the channel to keep following with what we're doing. So more Mutant Chronicles goodness to come. So that's all for now. And so I'll be back again with some Warzone, and part 5 is coming out Friday. So tune into that. And there's a playlist, of course, with all the parts. And if you really, really want, I can do a super edit of that first hour. So we can do a whole hour, the whole hour of lore in like one long piece. So that might be fun to have on the channel as well. So thanks again, and I will I'll talk to you soon. Look out for another. Oh, hey Drunken, thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back again. I hope that was interesting. I hope it was fun to see the early versions of this, and especially a lot of that early art, because this book, of course, is like long out of print, and it's hard to find a intact copy. So you can take a look around. I think Mutantpedia is a kind of an archive of a lot of the things that are out of print, if you want to see digital PDF versions and read through some more of that detail yourself. So take care, and see you on Friday. So the premiere will be on Friday, so I'll be there in the chat, and I'll see you then. So bye for now.